So today we are making a delicious chicken salad. This dish is packed full of flavor and the perfect choice as a healthy lunch or midweek supper for that little pick-me-up. It's zesty, zingy, vibrant and super simple to make. So before we get stuck right into it, I want to tell you about a little secret ingredient which lies within the chicken marinade, and that is sumac. It is made from dried berries. You could essentially use sumac instead of lemon juice and it would immediately enhance your dishes, giving it a fascinating and exotic twist. Essentially, sumac would give your dish a citrusy bite which is perfect but without the acidity. So first up, I've got my key ingredient, which is chicken breast, and I'm just going to open it up and flatten it to just one roughly even layer so we can get it cooked evenly and as quickly as possible. But before we get on with that, I'm going to make a delicious butter. So I've got some chives here. I've got about 8 strands and I'm just going to thinly slice this. And I've got about 80 grams of butter here. So I'm just simply going to add that chive into the butter. Next, we've got this lovely ingredient, which is the sumac, and I'm just going to add about 2 teaspoons to that butter. Next, we have some honey, and I'm just going to add about 1 tablespoon of that honey to the butter. Just use any honey you have. Next, I've got a nice lime here, but we're not using the juices here. Remember, we're using that sumac for that nice citrusy, zingy flavor. So we only want the zest here. Now just some black pepper and just a bit of salt. So we just want to mash this together. Preferably, if your butter is room temperature, it's a lot easier to mash this. So that's for that butter. I'm just going to set it aside and we'll get to it in a little while. But for now, let's just turn our attention to that chicken. So as I said earlier, we're just going to open this up and get an even layer to get it cooked all throughout perfectly. Just a quick wash of hands. Now a little drizzle of olive oil on the chicken, but not the pan, because when you drizzle the pan you tend to get a lot of splatter when you drop the chicken in. And let's just go in with a little bit of seasoning. So I've got the pan on a medium-high heat. Once the pan comes to the heat, I'll drop the chicken in and we'll just leave it without flipping it over, just to get a nice deep crust on it. Once that crust is formed on one side, we can then turn it over and just leave it for another few minutes. So before that chicken is completely cooked, we are going to get some of that butter onto the chicken and some on the pan. So I've just turned off the heat and we are going to use the residual heat from the pan to melt this butter. So this butter now will give the chicken a lovely buttery glaze. So I'm just going to take this off the heat and just let it rest before we cut into it. And whilst it's resting, we'll just assemble the salad. So we have a head of lettuce, and some lovely tomatoes. Next, a bit of avocado, and I love avocados. This chicken is now really nice, juicy and tender, and it's time to slice into it. And finally, I have some feta cheese here, which I have mixed with some olive oil. So let's just get some of that feta onto the salad as well. And in actual fact, feta will make everything better. And just a drizzle of pomegranate molasses if you have it. If not, it can be skipped. So, a lovely, wonderful, tasty dish, which is really easy to make. And if you like this type of thing, you're gonna have to try this. So, I'm gonna have to finish this. So if you'll excuse me, and whilst you're at it, make sure you like the video and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.